have a controversial question.
Ooh.
Bita, welcome to Make It Happen Dallas. I've always wanted to say this. I've literally like just waited for this exact moment just to say welcome to insert podcast. So I'm really excited.
Ever since I've been listening to your podcast since day one, I've just been so excited and have been dreaming about being a part of this. So thank you for inviting me.
I feel like you knew that you were going to be a part of it too.
You know, sometimes you think about these things, we don't want to assume. So, you know.
But it was obvious that you were going to be literally my first guest. And you are, which is really funny. But I'm really excited. How are you feeling? Like, this is your first podcast, right?
This is my first podcast interview, and I'm very, very excited. I'm a little jittery and excited, but I think it's more fun the fact that I'm with you rather than a random stranger. So I think that's the best part.
Sure. And, you know, I think that interviewing your friends is almost like you can breathe. Like, it's fine. Like, they know me. They just embarrass me a little bit, but that's fine. You know what I mean?
A little bit.
Okay, a lot. But I'm excited. There's a reason you're here too. I feel like you are one of the most confident people that I know. Whether that was something that was always in you. I remember when we first met. I guess we can talk about when we first met, right?
Yeah, right.
What was your perspective?
Well, first we met virtually, and I was like, I don't know who this girl is. I don't care.
Yeah. Backstory. We worked together at Clapper, which is a social media app. And the first times that we met were online because we were working remote. I was an intern. You were almost like a part-time.
I was like somewhere. I was like an intern,
something.
part-time, something like that.
Yeah. And Bita did not care about me at all. She was like, who's this person?
I just wanted you to get your job done.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not my problem. I'm not going to be here long. I'm just here to get my check.
And get out. So similar to what we are now. But yeah, then we met in person, and that sort of changed everything because I was like, you know what I thought? I thought from all of the people that we met, I have to be friends with her. I just knew that everything that I wanted to accomplish had to be done by like befriending you. I was like, she's just like confident, strong. She's like a leader. I need to shadow her and like have her as my competitive edge sort of thing. Not in a bad way, but you know what I mean.
You know how I like to be competitive. I think that hearing you say that too makes me just like get excited. But I also felt very similar as well because I was like, what is this? Who is this girl who just comes into the room, is ready to be friends with everyone? Like, it's a very infectious energy. And I was like, oh, so this is Oriana. Maybe we can be friends.
Maybe. Bita was still hesitant, but I get it because, like, you had one goal to succeed.
Yep. That's it.
I remember even, like, you were also, like, very quick to make friends. I remember we went to 60 Vines, right?
Yes, that's where we were.
And you were like chatting from the side, and the other one that you were talking to the high management people, like, because I remember that there were investors that were invited, and you just like went over and you're like, hi, I'm Bita. I create content for Clapper. You were just so confident, and I guess that is my first question. Like, how did you get that confidence? Like, were you born a confident baby, or did it just like experiences in life sort of like made you that way?
That's a really good question because I think so many people want to say that, oh, it's just comes naturally, but it doesn't. I was very insecure growing up, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Leo, so like the whole confidence thing is supposed to be like a part of me, but it's really a taught trait. I was very shy, very self-conscious growing up. It was really hard for me to make a lot of friends. And I think because of those struggles that I had early on, I realized that if I want to have a different lifestyle, if I want to be that leader, I can't be scared of people. And then kind of to touch up on what you said, like I was talking to the investors and like being very like, hey, what's up? The biggest thing that I ever learned was like, hey, if you can't even talk to someone that is supposed to be like bigger than you and treat them like a regular person, you're not going to get anywhere because all these people don't want to be treated like they're something special. They're just a regular person. Just talk to them like they're your friend or they're like your dad or something.
Did you like, was there a moment, because you said growing up it wasn't like you were super confident, right? But like, was there a moment where you make that switch and you're like, okay, you know what, maybe when you got to college, like, okay, I'm gonna be different, I'm gonna like kill it, I can speak to anybody, I don't care who it is. Like, was there like a aha moment for you?
It actually was when I used to go and travel to Turkey in the summers. I used to summer in Turkey to visit my family. And when I was there, I would be the American that would come to visit. And so I would always be introduced to a variety of people because everyone wanted to show off that they had an American friend. At the beginning, I was very self-conscious of meeting all these new people and speaking Turkish and speaking English and like showing them that I'm actually American. And it was through that, being able to talk to all these random people, make friends, make acquaintances with people from all ages, because it's not like people that are just your age want to know and find out if you're the American. People that are older than you, adults, they ask you about your life. They ask you about what it's over there. So like by having myself meet all those people and talk to them, it made me more comfortable. And that's actually why it's a lot more easier for me to speak to people older than me rather than people my age. I can talk to people older than me all day. People my age, I get a lot more intimidated by that for some reason.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Does it?
I think it does, because that's true that when you're talking to another person, they want to know about your culture. It's very easy to just talk like an adult, right? Like they ask you like, how's the economy? How is school, right?
Yeah.
You start talking about topics that you wouldn't talk to your friends about. You get more self-conscious because your friends are going to be like, oh, you don't know who this artist is. It's not that. It's more like,
Or like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I don't know. I just go to school.
you're like, oh, you don't want to know about the American school system?
I have that down. It's in my notes.
So that makes sense. And I think it also makes sense why you started being more confident. I honestly think that speaking two languages already requires some sort of like confidence level, just because you have to speak it. And at the beginning, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be horrible.
It's still not pretty.
I think it sounds beautiful.
You don't know what I'm saying.
That is why I think it's beautiful. But you know what I mean? Like when I started speaking English, it was very choppy. So I think it takes a little like getting yourself out there to actually practice, because if not, like you're not going to practice with your mirror. Nobody's answering, right?
Yeah, I think anyone that speaks more than one language, they just automatically get more confident because you've already accomplished one very challenging task, and that's communicating in a secondary language and being able to specify and share your thoughts. And that's very hard to do.
I agree. And, because, you were born in Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
It is
a secret that
it's okay. I don't think why though. I think it's cool.
It's Norman, Oklahoma. It's like the middle of nowhere.
I think it's fun when you're a billionaire that you say, where are you from? Oh, Norman, Oklahoma. And then they build a statue of you on that town. Wouldn't you think that's cool?
I would love that. I mean, any statue I would appreciate in the future.
That little girl in Norman, Oklahoma right now is going to be like, oh my God, I can make it.
Norman's actually a very nice place. That's where
There we go.
OU is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in Norman, but then I also lived in other places as well.
Yes, you lived in Turkey for a little bit.
I did. I lived in Istanbul, which was really nice.
So, you are obviously someone very, like I said, very confident, very like sure of what she wants, and she will do what she needs to do to get it, right?
Yes.
A boss lady, right? So growing up, with, conservative parents, a conservative sort of like culture, how did you deal with that? Like, how was your childhood and your upbringing for you to be the person that you are now?
That's a really good one. So yes, I grew up in a very conservative household. My dad is from Iran and my mom is from Turkey. And so them together, definitely with a Muslim background, is very strict and very orderly. And there's certain ways in how things are supposed to be done. And it's all about the man. I, of course, am the oldest daughter, so not a boy. Sorry.
Nothing we can do to change that.
Can't do anything about it. But because of that, because of the fact that I was the oldest and a daughter of that, I always wanted to prove to my dad that I could do anything a boy can do. And I wanted to be able to still be very strong as a woman. And I didn't like the fact that there was always limitations placed onto women with the roles that they had in the society, as well as just like how they were treated within even my own family. And I didn't want that for myself. And I always looked up to the American concept of womanhood, and compared to like, you know, even just the Muslim culture, like those American girls, they got their dreams. I watched Legally Blonde and I was like, I am going to be a bad bitch that goes and becomes a lawyer. And I didn't even know anything about law school, right?
Yeah.
That is not what I did. But I wanted to become a girl that like accomplished her goals if she set her mind to it. And Legally Blonde was definitely one of those moments when I was like, hey, this is something that I want to be a strong woman one day.
I think it's so funny that you mentioned Legally Blonde because I totally think you're Elle. Like, I think that you would pull that off so good. Like with your, you know, pink, you know, suitcase and your blazer, and you're like, I'm here because I mean business, you know?
Yes.
Like I totally see you being like super like, you know, girly, but at the same time, I will school you if I have to, you know?
I'm going to be spraying perfume on all of my resumes and my college applications.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
That was like a key like
Moment.
tip I took for myself.
That was the switch right there. You're like, perfume to my resumes. That's how I'm going to make it. That's amazing. So even though you had, you know, very strict parents and just like it's more of a conservative culture, what are the things that right now you think of, wow, I think these things about my culture is something that I want to keep alive, even like when you have a family or in your life in general, things like habits or things about Turkey or Iran that you want to keep alive?
First, the
future.
history. Definitely like the history of just the countries, the empires, and just the growth that they've experienced, and, you know, human rights and things like that. I think that's very important. Being able to see the fight that people have, because you should never think of what a government is as to what the people are. And I think that's something that I really look at, because if you look at Turkey, if you look at Iran, there's a lot of controversial things going on there. But if you look at the people, it's completely different. They have a completely different mindset than the government. And being able to understand that, I think, is something that I'll respect. And the welcoming. Regardless of who you are, regardless of your culture, all Iranians and Turkish people that I've ever met have always been very warm and welcoming to anyone. And I think that's something that I really appreciate as well.
So I want to go back sort of this concept of confidence. And you know how there's this saying that's like, fake it till you make it, right? And for you, it was more like you just got yourself out there, you experienced different things, you started like speaking another language, you started talking to more people regardless of who they were. Was there a moment when you were in college and already getting job opportunities that you felt like you were faking it, or you felt like, okay, I have this imposter syndrome that I can't get rid of, even though I feel like I'm prepared for all this, but not, like feeling like you're not worthy of those opportunities? Like, have you ever felt that as a confident person?
Every day. I feel that every day. There's never a time that I'm not questioning myself. I don't know if it's like anxiety driven or something or whatever, but I definitely feel it very often. Maybe not every day, but very consistent for sure. You're always going to second guess yourself. You're always going to be like, am I doing this right? Who do I go to? I think it might be because I don't have anyone that I can speak to that has experienced the things that I've experienced or that have accomplished the things that I want to accomplish. Maybe that's the reason. But I think it is definitely something that many people have to go through. And you just have to learn how to silence that voice. There's going to always be that inner voice that tells you can't do it, or that you're not ready, or that you shouldn't, or that you're a failure. You have to learn how to silence that and just be like, go fuck yourself. I'm going to go do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
definitely feel that.
I think something that you do, or that we do as a team also when we do experience that is that we're just lucky that we just have people to talk to. I know in not every work environment you get to talk to your peers about how you're feeling. But we do this constantly, and I think for my imposter syndrome that has helped. I don't know if it has helped you, but I know when it was just like me, Maria, which is our coworker, and you, when we would just get together and we're like, I've been feeling like this, and then the other person was like, I've been feeling like this too. So there's this kind of like, you get to take a deep breath when you hear someone else going through the same thing that you're going through, and it doesn't feel like a big deal anymore. If that makes sense.
I think having camaraderie, oh my God, I can't say
camaraderie.
Camaraderie, yeah.
Yeah, don't ask me about pronunciation.
Sorry, I think I butchered that. But having friends or a team, people that you can trust to go to is very valuable. But it's a little different because you can talk to your boyfriend or your significant other all you want, but they're not in the same boat. So maybe being able to have that same a friend or a coworker that are in that similar path with you and to talk to and vent to, I think that's very helpful for sure.
I have a controversial question.
Ooh.
Do you think that people should be friends with their coworkers?
Wow, that's a good one. I don't think you should expect to be friends with your coworkers. I don't think that you should demand, and I don't think you should go into a job thinking you're going to make friends.
Right.
But I do think that having a positive relationship with people that you work with is necessary, because these are the people that you're going to be with 8 hours every day, 5 days a week. So there needs to be some form of friendliness and respect, but I don't think you do have to be friends with everyone. I think I'm very lucky that I was able to find 2 people that I really connected with, but I'm still friends not friends, but like I'm still very friendly with everyone else, but I don't openly share that I'm BFF with every person in the office. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think it's good that you should be like, well, I'm actually friends with every single person and I love them all, because you really don't. Let's be real, Karen. Like, it's not happening. But I am really good friends with you. I definitely feel like I've connected with you very, very well.
I love what you're saying, because it's like, it's essentially not forcing it. I think if it happens, it's good. And if it doesn't, that's good too. Right. And obviously knowing that just because you're friends doesn't mean that there's going to be, whatever, I'm just not going to get this done because that's my friend. Right.
I hate that. That's the one thing I'm so scared of is crossing that line with someone in the office and opening up that friendship department and then them thinking they can slack.
Right.
That is one thing I'm not. That's why actually I don't even hire family. That's my number one rule from previous jobs. I don't hire anyone that's family.
Yeah, that seems very, very messy. I wouldn't do that either.
Family can also include friends, though. I did hire a friend once, and it was the worst experience of my life.
I bet it was.
I was so happy when she quit.
I think even like if you even like recommend your friends, right? Like there's something different about like being a friend first and then a coworker, and that being a coworker and then a friend. That's different, because you've already established that there has to be some boundaries and there's some responsibilities and things that you have to do. And I think that's why we got along, because we're like, over anything else, we need to get our job done, and then can come the fun, right? And then we can just hang out, and then we can go to the pool and get tan. But first, let's figure out how we're going to solve this problem at work, or how are we going to make the team better. And I think that's
ourselves better. And we're always leveling up.
Yes. And leveling up by looking at what the other person does and not seeing like, oh my God, I can't believe that this person is doing this. But instead being like, wow, this is great that they're doing this. I want to do it too. Let's find a way for me to make it my own and level up with them. And it's like this like, ooh, like competitiveness, but it's like exciting because you don't want to bring them down. You just want to go up there with them, sort of
I
thing.
like that you mentioned the competitiveness, because that's when I knew that I could be friends with you.
Thank God.
Is when Ori and I were openly able to admit one day that we like to compete with each other. And then I remember I said something and she was like, oh my God, yeah, I love that. And I was like, wait, you have fun like competing with me? And I was like, oh my God, like we really are friends.
Yes. I think it all happened because we were in a radio one time. We were like in an open
Twitter space.
a Twitter space, right? It was an open discussion about, what was it? Something over competition or
Women not-
collaboration.
yeah.
Collaboration over competition. And I don't know why it made me feel weird that they said collaboration over competition. Like, you just need to collaborate. You don't need to compete with each other. And it was like a women panel. And Bita comes in and she goes, I actually love to compete. I love competing with my friends and with my coworkers because I feel like that makes me better and it makes them better. So yeah, I love competition. And they were like, oh, yeah.
Because I also mentioned too, I was like, sometimes someone just needs to know that they're bad. Like, people need to know if their ideas are bad or if their concept sucks, and like, or if they're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about coddling people. Like, and I'm not saying you need to be rude at all, but you need to know if you suck.
Yeah, honestly, if your idea is not the best fit for what we're talking about, and this goes back to being a leader for us. Like, sometimes we do brainstorm and we do like come up with ideas, and sometimes they just doesn't work. So how have you like dealt with, transitioning to being our leader and having to, deal with a lot of opinions, a lot of ideas? How do you as a leader just like keep yourself down and be like, okay, what is the objective thing to say, but also encouraging them to keep going, right? So to keep giving ideas, just this one will not work.
That has been a really hard thing for me to do, because previously, whenever I was in charge, it was over like basic stuff. Like, if you work in a restaurant industry, it's very easy to tell someone, hey, you made that order wrong or you placed that wrong. It's not very high level thinking. But whenever you're working in a startup environment and you're having to develop strategy, you're having to develop campaigns, not only does that become a little bit more touchy, because this is someone's idea that they've been fostering on, and you don't want to break their spirit. Mm-hmm. You're not just going to have them quit and go, find someone else. It's, you want to make sure you provide positive feedback while telling them that this is not going to work. This has been something that I've been able to accomplish this year, I would say. And it really first started off with me explaining to them and asking questions, actually. And actually not even explaining. I asked questions. Why do you think this would work? Why do you think this is for now? Why do you think like this is a good move? And then if they were able to answer those questions, and then I would be able to highlight like, okay, if you don't have this question, right, this is why, this is why, this is why. Here are my follow-up questions. Here's where I'm seeing the things that are lacking for this strategy and why I don't think this is a ready idea. I'm not saying don't go with it, but maybe we need to take more time towards it. Or, hey, you're not considering XYZ within, like, say, the platform and how this would work. So this is not practical. And sometimes people get excited and they don't think about the practicality of their concepts or how to actually, implement it. And that's two different parts. Is sure, you can have a cool idea, but how do you implement it? How do you make it trackable? How do you make it to something that is actually beneficial for the brand and for the company, and not just like a cool idea? You have to think about all those things, and being able to help people do that, I think, is really hard, but you just have to be honest. I think one-on-ones, I don't try to like public shame anyone ever. So if there's ever a bad idea, if there's ever something that I don't agree with, but it's like a big one, I try to have that as a private conversation, or I just try to be very casual with it. So I'm like, hey, X, like, that was a really cool idea, really cool concept, but I just don't see this working with these 3 reasons. Here's my reasons. So if you can come back with like making it better, come back later. But I don't think this is going to be something that we can move forward with because of those reasons. And then, just kind of end that conversation in front of people, because I don't want people to think that they can't have positive criticism as well. So, yeah.
I think you literally like describe what a good leader would do. Just because it's not just about criticizing, it's also like, but why? Right? I remember one time you told me, like, I always like to ask why. Like, it's fine if you want to, reject my idea, but I want to ask why. And the person criticizing it or critiquing it must have the reasons why it could not work. So the fact that you don't go like, hey, this is a horrible idea. do another one. You go, hey, this is not the best idea because of this, this, and that. Now, if you do this, maybe it can work. So maybe brainstorm some other idea. So I think by providing that, you're not only just shutting them down, you're giving them the opportunity to make their idea better. And that's all anyone wants, when they're being critiqued.
Yeah. And I also think that maybe previously in other work cultures, again, this is my first full-time job. I have not been in any other corporate settings. So like maybe in other corporations and like other work cultures, it's very toxic and like people don't want their other team members to be successful. But with our mentality and the startup mentality is like, if my coworker brings a killer strategy and it takes us to that next level, we all win. It's not like, oh, my idea has to be the winner idea or else I'm not going to get a raise or a promotion. Like, so far, our company has not worked like that. And I don't think our team works like that. If you win, we win because as a team, we're becoming better. And I think that helps us be like, no, we want all people to be involved with every single brainstorming and high level thinking conversation because everyone provides a different perspective. And I think that's something that a leader should value is those different perspectives. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, the way that you think, I'm wondering like where did your first like leadership role would you say you experienced? Because like you said, this is the first job you've had, but that doesn't mean that your leadership skills have not been building up ever since or before that job. So how did you understand all of the things that you now understand that you just discussed on how to treat people, how to be a better leader? Like, where do you think that came from?
So this is going to sound a little silly. Maybe not. I don't think it's silly. I think it's actually real.
It's not.
As a child of immigrants, I had to translate documents. I had to be the one that at 5, 6, 8 years old, go into these meetings at these banks, go into these doctors' offices and translate for my parents. I mean, don't get me wrong. They spoke English, but it wasn't that good. And I was the one that went to elementary school, so I should know everything. I was born in this country. And so because of that, I had to like always make myself prepared to help and to be that leader in explaining things and explaining concepts. So I think most firstborn immigrant children do have that leadership experience embedded into them because they've had to take that lead for their family. And then also I would say Girl Scouts.
Yes.
Girl Scouts is a really great like women empowering organization. In my opinion, I had a great time. Taught me how to speak for myself. It taught me how to experience new things, make new friends, get out of my comfort zone. And then finally, I had a job in high school. Like I've been working since I was 15 and I rose up those ranks very fast in every single job I had. And I always ended up being a manager or being requested to be a manager at every single one of my jobs. I think you should be careful with those experiences because you can get trapped.
Sure.
That happened to a lot of people that I saw that had bright futures, but they got trapped in the grind. And the instant money outweighed for them at that moment the long-term benefits that they could have had by continuing their education. So I think it just depends on where you're at too. But yeah, so I think putting yourself in those leadership roles and just trying to hustle it out is how I got to where I'm at.
And I think you also had a way different mentality in the sense that you are not someone that's going to be satisfied easily, I feel like. and I feel like that shows up by you being like, oh, even though I'm doing this and I'm doing well, I want more. And that I want more like phrase that comes up, that's when you know that you're going to level up from whatever you're doing at the moment. And you're like, oh, this is not it. Like, there's some people that are, and there's nothing wrong with people that, are in their comfort zone and are okay and have a good life, happy life. That's fine. But there's some people that in their back of their mind, I think perfectionists, right? They're like, I need more and I'm going to get more. And that's why you see them grow up grow to positions so quickly. And I think that's what's happened to you.
You really hit the ball on that one. I am never satisfied. Something my boyfriend is frustrated at sometimes because I always want more. But the fun, it's all about the process. I think it's just fun to keep striving for something more and to compete and to try to do something more and more and more. And I know like sometimes people are like, well, aren't you just satisfied with what you have? Like you're accomplishing so much. Like leave room for the rest of us. Like, no, girl, get your ass up. Compete.
As said by the Queen Kim Kardashian.
Oh no, she got a lot of hate for that though.
Yeah, I know. But I understand like the idea behind it of like, you know, you should never compare your success with anyone else's.
Never.
So even
Different
though
journeys, completely.
yeah, even though for other people it might seem like you have everything, that doesn't mean that you can't do other things and level up even when you are at a leadership role. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting more. In my opinion,
I'm not
obviously.
gonna stay here at this level. I'm only just
No.
getting started.
Yeah, we want infinite levels. I think one of the last things I want to just like pick your brain at, just because you just give so much good insight for any type of like woman or individual that wants to succeed, but sometimes they're a little scared. And I know you've dealt with imposter syndrome. You've dealt with, you know, not knowing if what you're doing it's okay. So what would you say to any person that are like stuck in something and want to be better, want to level up, but they just don't know how, or they're just afraid that they will not be good enough, don't have the qualifications, or don't have the drive to do it? Like, what would you tell to someone that's a little stuck and a little scared, honestly, to just jump in and do what they want?
Okay, this is going to be a bit controversial.
That's fine.
If you yourself don't have the drive to be better, I can't give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be something that you come from within, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be consistent. Some days I am very lazy and I don't have the drive to do whatever XYZ I need to do to level up. And it's not always going to be linear as well. But it's something in you that you have to find to tell yourself like, hey, I have to do this for me. Little me would be so proud if I accomplished this. Little me would be like so surprised if I was able to do this. And then as soon as you start feeling uncomfortable, keep going. And if you just hear that voice that says, no, keep going, and just keep going. There's so many times when I start getting scared when I was doing presentations, I was doing pitches, that I wanted to just run away and back out. But I just told myself, this is just a 5-minute conversation. You need to get in there and just rock it. You need to just do your best. Just have the conversation. Even just trying it and failing is going to give you more experience and just like a check of just the fact that, hey, just did that. So I think for anyone who's having a hard time to just getting started, I think just try. I don't think you need to be perfect. I don't think you need to do it and get the $1 million investment that you're looking for or anything like that. Like, just try it and fail and be okay with failing and be more proud of the fact that you tried it and did it than never trying it at all. I think that is what I would like to take away with that.
I don't think I could have said it better. That was amazing. I'm really happy that you came in. I think you just have so much value in everything you say and the way you say things, because you're a great speaker. Let's just start with that, which is something that I love being competitive about. I think thanks to you, I've been more willing to be like more outspoken, and the whole reason why we're doing this podcast, right? So I really appreciate you coming here. We are short on time, but I do appreciate it so much. And we're going to do a little game when we come back, so stay tuned.
A game?
Yes. Okay. We're back and we're going to do some rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. The first ones are going to be easy, so it's fine. But then they're going to get more personal as I go along. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Okay. And we're starting now. What's your favorite time of the day?
Morning.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
What's your
Savory.
biggest strength?
I was thinking my mouth. Just because I'm good at talking. But yeah.
I think that works. You're good at speaking, you can say.
I'm good at speaking.
Okay. What's one vice that you wish you could give up?
Vice?
Mm-hmm. Or habit that you wish you could give up?
Laziness.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
I have beautiful skin.
That is a great compliment.
That's a great compliment, yeah.
When are you most inspired?
In the morning.
What makes you smile the most?
Jokes.
What motivates you to be better?
Myself.
That's it. That was really good. Except for that mouth fiasco.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure what to say. And then it just like came out like my mouth. And I was like, wait, what?
I think everyone understood what you meant.
That's what I meant.
And if not, that's on you. But okay, that was it. You did good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for inviting
Yes.
me. I had such a fun time just talking to you and connecting with you.
I have a final question.
Oh, okay.
I have a final question because you're the first guest, so you're making the standard. So the question is, what are the small things that you do on a daily basis to make it happen for yourself?
I like to block time on my Google Calendar.
That's so specific.
That really helps me make it happen. That might be silly, but I saw one of Ori's friends do it on her Google Calendar. And then I saw that she also adds tasks to it.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I saw her do it, I had to do it. And ever since I started doing that, it changed my life. So I have almost every hour of my waking day blocked off in time blocking.
I do understand that since we do the same thing. We do exactly the same thing and we were inspired by the same person. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that changed my life.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and making it happen. And for anyone who's looking at the video version, this is honestly the first guest episode. I want to be real with you guys. This is the first guest episode that I've ever done. So I'm really excited that you came in tonight. So let's make it happen, Dallas.
Bye.